not the point of interest. It's only the objective and the principle, and valuation, circumstance, condition, and purpose. A purposeful reality. But history, as seen through the eyes of the people who've experienced it, is quite different. Because historians and history keepers are two different people. I'm a history keeper. And I know my history. And it doesn't coincide with American history. It doesn't coexist with world history. In fact, they call my history fabrication. How dare you, Mr. Crow, say that this happened when this happened? In 1862, in New Ulm, Minnesota, 38 Santee Sioux were hung. Was it October 24th, 1862? Or was it September 24th, 1862? Or was it even 1862? According to history, it was in 1862, but not in New Ulm, Minnesota, where it originated. Because the history of the world has changed in the last, like I said, 67 years. So the territory of New Ulm doesn't exist anymore, just like the Dakota territory, where that Sioux Falls Penitentiary is built. And the borders have been changed. So when we have history as seen through the eyes of the people who've experienced it, it's different. And all of our history as indigenous people, or people of the earth, in all of our history, people have asked us what we need and want. But not one of these asking people have ever let us do what we need and want for the next 7 generations of life. And therefore, the children of today are suffering as a result of that. I sat on a lot of boards, a lot of tribunals, a lot of benches, a lot of committees, talking about these very things. And nothing has ever been done about it or accomplished from it because of that interpretive sense of worth called law.
How would you define law in Dakota, if there is such a thing to define?
The spirit And the spirit connectedness is the law of the land. Natural law. The natural order of the land, the way the land is. What God intended. Interpretation, man's interpretation, education, business, religious preference. We have all of this to choose from. And all of my life, I've chose tradition. Because even in that, they have taken my simple life and made it complicated by turning it into stability. The economic deity. You know? My tradition has become a petition. You know? And in order for that to take place, you know, they had to make a position. They call it Bureau of Indian Affairs, War Department, General Welfare. And so when we started to demonstrate, they come up with that social unrest and oppression. They turn that into suppression. So they call me a protester, and I refuse to be a protester. You know? And I told them, I'm not a protester. I'm against what you do, but I'm not a protester. I don't like what you say, but I'm not a protester. I'm just objecting to you in your entirety, but I'm not a protester. I just don't like what you do and what you stand for and how you are and how you treat people. You treat them... You know, when I left the reservation because I didn't like being in prison. I didn't like being incarcerated. I didn't like being told what to do. I didn't like orders from headquarters. The Parthistan and reservation are the same. What they did to the people in South Africa is the same as what they did to the Jews, is the same as what they did to the indigenous people all over the world. They didn't like me protesting. They didn't like me as a radical, as a subversive, as a militant. So, in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, they systematically started eliminating us from the world per se by accusing us of the most outrageous crimes imaginable. Here and there and here and there and here and there and here and there and everywhere. They started eliminating us with the most heinous of crimes against humanity. Picking us up and incarcerating us, jailing us, moving us from institution to institution, threatening us with lobotomies and their